Welcome guys to another YouTube video. Hopefully you guys are doing well. In this one, I basically just went on Instagram and asked my following to give me some questions to record for this video, anything about trading, psychology, philosophy, life in general. So in this video, we're gonna run through some of those questions, just answer them, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So let's get into the first question. I mean, technically, yes, the easy way to look at it is that, but the hard part is that all of that data that you're getting into with, yes, you spend time, you learn an edge, and then you repeat that edge. Yeah, it's very, very simple if you think of it like that. But what you're not taking into account is every single mistake you make in the journey, the psychological repercussions of it. How do you handle it? Are you going back into it trying to fix that mistake? Are you focused on making money? It is extremely hard just to focus on that system. But yes, trading, that's what it should be. It should be time spent learning the edge, learning how to actually execute on that edge, building conviction in that edge, and then sticking to a solidified risk system. Because the more that you focus on how you personally feel when it comes to your confidence and all these other things, it sets you up to make those mistakes. So to answer your question, yes, trading is that. It's spending a lot of time on the charts, building conviction in a setup, and then having the actual discipline and the psychological trust in yourself to only follow that edge, only follow that system, and continue to trade it day in and day out with consistent risk, and still focus on improving, and still focus on being a student. One thing I always recommend with traders is you are forever a student. You don't stop learning. Now, one thing that I see people fail in a big problem is they don't learn themselves. People think that there's a magical strategy that you will just learn and become successful. The real learning that happens with most of the time in most of traders' journeys is you'll start trading, you'll initially learn a strategy, you'll fail, and then a lot of people just drop it and think that that's the problem and the strategy itself is broken. That's not the case. A lot of the times you guys just don't want to put in the work to understand what the mistake was in that strategy. There is no magical piece of gold strategy that will make you profitable. There is never going to be that. What is there going to be is a way that you can view the market. And for example, I trade ICT. ICT is a way for me to view the market to then build a system that I can continue to improve over time depending on my own self. So many people hit a point in their trading where your learning should not be just watching a bunch of random YouTube videos trying to gain more strategy. Once you have a basis understanding of your strategy, when you try to add more to it, it doesn't do anything good for you. It does the exact opposite. What your learning phase becomes is your learning phase no longer becomes about strategy. It becomes about yourself. You learn more about yourself, the decision making that you make. How do you go about certain environments? How do you put yourself in those environments? And then also, again, how does it actually output? Is your trading increasing? Is your trading decreasing? What are the decisions you're making? And that's really what the learning is in trading later on in your journey. Okay, so for ICT standard deviation, I know that there's gonna be other people that think standard deviation is another thing. Standard deviation is just a label that ICT put on a concept that is based off of a Fibonacci. So standard deviation is just a measurement tool that measures the manipulation leg of a leg in the market that gives you a projection as to where the market is basically going to go. Now, there's other definitions for standard deviation. There's other things in standard. I know that when the other day I was talking to a family friend of mine. His name's James, and he manages like $20 million in capital for just like one client. And he's not he does not an intraday trader. He's a swing trader. He doesn't hold for over a year, or he doesn't hold for anything under a year. Sorry. But his standard deviation is a completely different measurement than what mine is. Mine is on a chart and it's based off of a Fibonacci. So there's many different ways of standard deviation, but if you've heard it from me, it is an ICT tool that measures a manipulation leg that gives you a specified projection of where the market's most likely to go. Okay, the first thing is you have to submit to the process. I'm gonna say this to anybody who's in school right now. If you are in high school or in college and you're trying to trade and you're trying to become profitable, one of the biggest mistakes, and again, it's going to suck because it's an inevitable truth. You will graduate and you will be put in a position to either get a job or continue to trade. But if you put that idea so forefront in your mind, it will do nothing good for you. So if you're a student right now, you have to understand, you have so much time. It doesn't matter if you're a student, it doesn't matter if you're gonna get a job, there's always ways around it. If you're working a job, you can end up getting a couple days where you can trade in the morning. But if you're a student and you're at break even right now, the first recommendation, the first thing I'm gonna say to you is stop worrying about, oh, I'm about to graduate and then I'm not gonna be able to trade. Don't worry about that. Just focus on trading. When that time comes, again, any thought that is in your mind that has nothing to do with right now and actually what you're doing should be out of your mind. It's not in your control, and it shouldn't be in your mind. You have to understand, peace comes from understanding that everything that is out of your control right now should also be out of your mind right now. So that's the first thing. Second thing, if you are break even right now, the biggest thing that is going to get you out of break even is journaling. Because journaling is going to show you all of the little tweak mistakes that you make that need to be fixed. Because break even is a great foundation to be. Break even basically means, and tells me most of the time, you know what you're looking for, you can execute on the trade, but the problem is that's holding you back from break even is just little fucking losses in dumb decisions that chip away at your wins. That's 95% of the time what it is for break even traders. So the things that are going to cause you to get out of break even are implementing rules based off of your stats and your numbers to show you actually what is going to cause you to improve. So for example, if you're break even and you end up realizing that all of the days that are your biggest losing days are days where you take more than 3 trades. Okay, I've just looked at my numbers, I've just looked at my journal, and I know all of the losses I take are the big losses that chip away at my wins that are holding me back from actually becoming profitable are days that I take more than 3 trades. So implement a rule, don't take more than 3 trades, and then after, let's say 3 weeks or 4 weeks, a month, right? Trading is about making a change in your rules, seeing how the data reacts. Make a change, see how the data reacts. So implement a rule, and I guarantee you just by 1 or 2 rules, because again, you're at break even. All it takes is 1 or 2 rules and changes in your trading to see success. So journal, 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 and always reflect on your mistakes. Do not push them under the rug. Push your ego to the side. Always admit failure. Always admit wrongdoing and look at it from a third-person perspective. Don't wallow in your own guilt, because I see so many traders, and I used to do the exact same thing when I first started trading. I would make mistakes and I would be so guilty and I'd be like, Justin, what the fuck is wrong with you? I would get so mad at myself. It's a terrible way to go about things. Look at it from a third-person perspective. Treat yourself like you are already profitable. If somebody who's already profitable, are they going to treat themselves like that? No, they're going to say, okay, I made this mistake. Let's analyze this. What did I do wrong? And what am I going to use from this mistake going into the next day and the next week, right? Treat yourself like you are already profitable. Do not treat yourself like you are the version of you trying to be profitable. Because if you mentally keep telling yourself that you are the version of you trying to be profitable, then your actions are going to constantly reflect that. So going into December and January, I'm not going to lie, it depends on the year. December always, in my opinion, from my experience, is always going to be a slower month, but specifically this December, I am pretty de-risked, not just because it's December, but because we're literally today, NQ is back at all-time highs. So when NQ is at all-time highs and we're at the end of the year, we're at the end of the quarter basically going into the next year, a lot of the times we can expect slower price action, but since we're at all-time highs, I need, with my strategy, more structural based bias for me to take high quality setups. So it also depends on your edge. For my edge specifically, December and when markets are at all-time highs is a lower probability condition for my setup. Now, other people might look at this and say, Justin, we can, let's say for example, again, since we're at all-time highs, we can just continue to pump this month. If we continue to pump this month, I get comments saying, Justin, you were so wrong. We ended up like pumping, 5% on NQ, whatever, in the month, whatever. It doesn't matter if we pump. It doesn't fit my edge. If it fits your edge, that's great. But that's what you have to recognize is in my specific edge, December plus all-time highs equals lower probability conditions equals focusing on capital preservation. The market will always give you opportunity. That opportunity does not mean opportunity to make money. Because if you're focused on, opportunity, where the fuck can I make money? You're not going to be successful. It is opportunity to improve in aspects of your game. That is what is important. Because right now, I don't look at this as saying, I'm not going to make money this month. No, I look at this as an opportunity for me to practice the game of capital preservation. It's just like golf. You have your iron game, you got your short game, you got your long game, you got your putting game. All of these things are practices that are going to overall round you as a golfer. If you don't have one of them, you're not going to be great. And if you want to be great with trading, you need all of it. So treat trading like that. Every opportunity in not all opportunity is opportunity to make money. The opportunity is in aspects of your game to improve. So right now, I'm focused on capital preservation. Going into the new year, I want to see how December closes off, and I'll reassess. Again, next year I focus on upping my size, but I'm not going to up my size next year unless the market shows me to. Well, the reason I wasn't going to say worse is like, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am now. Okay, so it's like that's kind of the hard part, because have I made bad decisions? 100%. I've lost a lot of money in a lot of my time. I have videos, and honestly, I feel like I need to find them to put in some of these videos. But I have videos of me in my car, like driving to school after I think this was when I was a freshman, before I dropped out. I was a freshman in college, and I lost like 20-something grand or 30-something grand. I don't remember. But I remember having my camera like plopped up in my phone and just driving to school, and it's like a 20-minute video of me just ranting to myself, like being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like we just talked about. It's like it's a terrible way to approach things. But the biggest mistakes that I've made in my trading, every single one, I won't just give you one, because I'll give you all of them basically what they are. Every mistake in my trading that are biggest mistakes is over leveraging and not being focused on what I should be focusing on. That's just simply what it is. The biggest mistakes in your trading are not just, taking a bad setup. It's you being too overconfident, not being in the moment, you exchange short-term desires for long-term goals. That's it. That's the best definition I can give you for my biggest mistakes, and it is the mistakes that I make when I exchange my short-term desires for long-term goals, which is I'm in the moment, I see a setup, and I think I'm confident in it, and I'm not feeling super great. I maybe woke up, I'm fucking tired, and I decide to put on like 3x size because I'm foggy or whatever, right? That is the biggest mistakes that you can make, and when you are just more focused on, in that moment, making money now, instead of realizing what trading is even about in the first place. I think there's a couple main answers. Again, there's the physical answer, and then there's the spiritual answer. The physical answer is to support the people around me and continue to work towards the best version of myself. And I believe that I am destined to become a man unfathomably great. And I believe that when you treat yourself like you are destined for greatness, anything that is lower than that, you immediately feel out of place. And the reason I wake up is, again, like there's so many things I have to like. Number one, obviously, I want to make as much money as possible so I can give it to my family. Like that's number one. Is goal, retire mom, retire dad, brother, every single person in my family. I don't want them working. I don't want them doing anything. My goal is for them to actually be able to experience life, not have to worry about money, and be able to do whatever the fuck they want. If they want to do art and my mom wants to make paintings, or she wants to have a house in the south of France and she can have a garden and we can make fresh and grow fresh vegetables and cook in the summer in the south of France, that's the goal. That's the physical, really. And of course, to give back and donate and take care of just the people around me. But going back to like the spiritual side, I wake up every morning because I believe that we are extremely blessed to have given the opportunity by God to experience such an amazing experience that we call life. And when you perceive life as this amazing gift that is given to you, that is not some burden, you're not some victim, you're not some anything, no matter if you grew up poor, rich, or whatever, any race, like we are all so blessed to be able to be a child of God, I believe, and be able to experience this amazing life, that you have the power to do whatever you want. You can literally create anything you want, you can do anything you want, and there's literally zero restriction in life, besides, again, lawful shit, but you can genuinely do whatever you want. And the idea in my mind that I have the creative freedom to create and design the life that I want is an extremely magical feeling. And it's also just the day-to-day, in the moment practicing of, I wake up because I get to experience this amazing experience of just me sitting in this moment with fucking Ben, my filmer, and being an amazing brother of mine. Like, just me being in this moment, talking and filming this is why I wake up. To experience life, to experience the senses that was given to us by God, to be able to experience the connections with other people in our lives and continue to work towards ourselves and continue to better ourselves, because it's an extremely rewarding feeling. Don't focus on making money. Like, it's something that you guys will always hear me say is, when you are first starting out on trading, it is extremely easy to be manipulated by the way that social media shows trading. Now, of course, you might be saying, Justin, you post wins. Of course I post wins, because people always, I'm going to break this down to you. People only get into trading because they can make money. That is it. Any person that has started trading, the activation energy, and I'm going to explain why this is so important. The activation energy as to why somebody even starts is to make money. When they actually start trading, every decision that they make, every intention that they make, every video that they watch, every actual trade that they take, every decision that it comes with sizing, stop loss, every single thing has the foundation of the activation energy that was created to even start the process in the beginning, was to make money. And the difference with trading and other jobs is, like, you might have the activation energy to get a job to make money, right? That's fine, because you're doing something repetitive. But with trading, you don't have a boss. You decide what to do. And because you don't have somebody telling you what to do, you have to discover yourself. And you have to build the self-discipline, the self-understanding, and more so the self-respect to follow what you actually are desiring. So the biggest recommendation I can say for new traders, just plain and simple, focus on building good habits. Do not focus on making money. Paper trade for at least 3 months. Paper trade, you should not be putting any capital into the market unless you know exactly what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, you understand your strategy, and you have at least 100 to fucking 500 hours of watching price action. And again, this video, me saying this alone, is gonna be like asking, Justin, why do I even fucking start then? Don't. I'm gonna be honest, 90% of the time, people that come to me and say, Justin, should I start trading? My answer is fucking no. And the reason why is because look at the statistics. 7% of traders fail because they don't have the right guidance, they don't have the right understanding, they don't know what to do, and they're emotional creatures. They don't understand the process of trading, and they always will fucking lose because they don't understand, and they don't have the experience, and they don't have also the balls to get back up after falling 1,000 fucking times. It took me 2.5 years to become profitable. I fell on my ass countless times, but I got back up every single one of them, and I learned and I understood what the problem was, what I needed to fix it, and I became a third-person observer. I was no longer attached to the idea of me becoming profitable. When you become attached to the idea of profitability, becoming profitable, getting funded, getting a payout, paying off fucking loans, whatever it is that your goal is or your activation energy is to start, you have this metaphysical understanding that when you put yourself in the actual environment to make the decision will always be skewed. The decision is always skewed. It's just like any other decision. When you're attached to a girl and a spouse or whatever it is, any decision that is based around that person is always skewed because you have rose-colored glasses on. Same thing with trading. Anything that you add value in your mind to the environment that you're putting yourself in, which is you sitting there and actually deciding to take a trade or not, will always be warped and will always be impacted. So your goal should only be watch the market, build conviction, journal, test ideas, not with capital, and just actually watch the market. Learn the market and learn how to actually trade first before putting on capital. It's like you can't get into the NBA without learning how to fucking dribble a basketball. Learn the basics, watch the market, then once you can see consistency in paper trading, open up a prop firm account. Don't even fund a live account, open up a prop firm account and get a payout. Cushions. The best, so how I go about scaling is I like to just say they're cushions, basically. So in 2022, when I had a 300K year, the start of that year was the account was $20,000. The way that you scale, in my opinion, the best way is by setting sizable cushions based off of your account size. So a lot of people, we were actually talking about this last night in the charting session. A lot of people, I don't like paying myself out with my account unless there's a reason for me to. So I would much rather do something like this. For example, let's say you have a $20,000 account and I'm trading, I'm not even going to say my size. What you shouldn't be worried about contract size. Keep in mind, it should be max loss because it depends on the setup. Some setups you could trade 3 contracts in that you might lose 400, you might lose 1,000, you might lose. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what the contract size is. It matters what the setup is. So the first thing I would say is think about it as max loss. Let's say I have a $20,000 account and my max loss on a $20,000 account is $500. Let's say I get the account from $20,000 to $25,000. At $25,000, I then increase my max loss from $500 to $750. My max loss now becomes $750. If the account goes back down to $20,000, I have to go back to $500 max loss. If I then take that account from $25,000 to $30,000, I then up my size or my max loss from $750 to $1,000. And now, again, if I go back down to $25,000, I have to reset my size or my max loss on each individual trade to $750. This is how you scale efficiently and quickly because you're setting buffers, you're setting cushions so that you scale exponentially based off of your max loss and the actual size itself based on the account. I think it's reaffirming that you don't always need to know and battle with yourself as right or wrong. I think it's extremely hard for a lot of people, and especially our generation, to just be. Every decision, every thought is always questioned. Should I be thinking this? Should I be doing this right now? Shouldn't I be at the gym? Shouldn't I? It's like you can't even enjoy 1 second because you're constantly questioning, can I do this? Should I be doing this? Is this the person I want to be? Blah, 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 blah. Like every second that goes by in the day is always thinking about something else, and it's always a what if mentality, right? And when we talk about a what if mentality, it's a fool's mentality 90% of the time. Now, there are times when you need to have deep thinking time, and it's like, okay, well, where do I want to be? And what do I want to do? And like, what's the work that I'm going to put in? But most of the time, day-to-day living about practicing, about being in the moment is understanding that it's cutting out all those times in your head that you're questioning the way that you think, because you can't just be. And you have to understand that you have to align yourself with the nature of who you are as a person. Humans, when you look at any other species, nobody other species has this type of problem that humans do when it comes to just the over intellectual brain that we have, that we question every single thing that we do. So one of the descriptions I love, or the analogies I love, is what Wayne Dyer says in his book, is be an otter. An otter doesn't think about how pretty it is or how fat it is or if it needs to go to the gym or if it should go in the water today or if it should go look for food. An otter is just an otter. An otter bees. It doesn't question what to do. It just simply flows and does what it is. It's being able to just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now, but it feels right. Like being able to understand that every decision you make isn't constantly questioned, because you don't end up developing yourself as a person as to what you want, what you do, because guess what? The life and God and the universe will give that to you. Everything that you seek when it comes to questioning yourself, what do I want, all these things, and how do I get it? When you submit to life and you let go and let God, as I like to say, you will automatically arrive at the destination in which you're looking for. And the habits that it takes, in my opinion, to continue to practice this mentality is the easiest thing. I love meditation. Meditation is great for bringing you in the moment, for bringing you into a state for trading as well. But it's always, in my opinion, it's not just the action of doing so. It's recognizing in the moment when you start to spiral. The moments when you feel like you can't even just enjoy sitting in the moment and being grateful and enjoying what you're doing in this moment. It's constantly thinking about what else, what if, what else this happened, what do I have to do later? And it always takes away from the gratefulness of just being in the moment now. And it's an extremely blissful experience when you can practice being in the moment, being grateful, and practicing that day in and day out. Let's be honest here. what are the odds that you hold your entire position for the next 20 years? Let's just be honest. Now, you can. I can't give you this answer because I don't have the level of conviction that you do in XRP. I don't know enough about XRP to say, hey, brother, keep holding. So it's like, I don't know what answer you want me to give you. Like, the answer that is probably best is decide if you have enough conviction to hold long term, or you should cycle the equity, take profits, and put it into something else. And that's what I probably recommend. It's like, if you're 15, let's say that you're trading, take $5,000 of that and go put it into a fucking live account and start practicing on real capital and start like trying to grow that account, or put it into other long-term investments. Like, you don't know what the future looks like. It depends on your conviction. It depends on what you want. Do you want to make money now? Do you need money? Do you need money right now? Like, there's not a one-size-fits-all answer for that. So anytime that I get somebody that says, I'm working a 9 to 5, how do I trade? My first thing that I always say is, have you asked? Have you asked to be able to trade in the morning? Like, one thing my dad always would say to me growing up is, if you don't ASK, you don't GET. And when it comes to working a job, you have to be able to go to them and say, I want to let, and this is how you have to do it too. Because if you're working a 9 to 5 when you're young, and let's say it's at like a restaurant or a less nice place, like not that it's a bad thing, but like when we're all young, I used to work at a pizza place and a restaurant. You have to gain the respect of the person for them to want to give you that time. I built that time when I was working at a restaurant. I used to work in the mornings. I used to work in the mornings, both my jobs. And within a week, I didn't. And the reason is because I went up to my managers and these people, and I said, hey, I wanted to say, hey, can I have a moment of your time real quick? And you basically explain to them saying, hey, so I recently picked up this job to, make some money on the side. I love what you guys are doing here. I'm really excited to work here. But I just wanted to be completely transparent and honest with you. This is actually one of my side jobs. One of my main income streams right now is trading. And I trade futures, and I've been doing it for X amount of time now. And I'm continuing to build my professional with that. And I've been really successful recently. And I want to let you know that if this takes away, and you have to put the pressure on them. You have to say, if this takes away from my time trading, which is currently supplying what I want, right? Even if you're not, you got to play games here. Even if it's not currently supplying what you want, you have to treat it like it is, because you have to add value to whatever they're saying. So saying, if this time that I'm currently working for you gets in the way of this, then there might cause some problems. And say, is there any way that I can possibly free up my schedule to be able to trade from 9:30 to 10, and I can come in at whatever time, right? But it's about showing the respect. It's like, hey, can I just get 9:30 off? Fuck no. Like, they won't fucking care. It's the same thing with like a teacher. People want to understand, and to gain the respect of a manager or a boss to give you that time, you have to gain it. And if you show them that you're not just fucking off and you're working towards something in your life, and you're working towards making money, and you're working towards something that most people aren't, especially if you're young, they will respect that, and 90% of the time, they will reward you for it. So they will give you that time. You just have to frame it in the right way. Reevaluate. A lot of the times, there's a couple checklists, right? Is this a me problem? Which it should be 95% of the time. Is it a me problem? Is it a strategy problem? Is it an emotional problem? Which ties in with me. Anytime that I have a streak of a losing period, the first thing I always want to understand is, for me at least, in my point in trading, I immediately know what the problem is. If you are on a losing streak and you are aware, this is the most important thing. If you are not aware, you probably are like, oh, I don't know why I'm losing. I guarantee you, you probably know why you're losing. You just aren't either aware of it, or you have too big of an ego to admit yourself what the problem is. So 95% of the time, if I'm losing and I'm on a streak, I know exactly what the fucking problem is. And it's up to you to decide, are you swiping it under the rug and acting like, Justin, I don't know what the problem is. The market's against me. The market's not against you, brother. You're just making the fucking mistake, and you don't want to admit to yourself that you're the one in control here. It is not you versus the market. It is you versus yourself. And until you're able to gain the third person awareness that you are the decision maker, you don't need to be tied to it. There's no reason to guilt yourself. There's no reason to wallow in your mistakes. You have to observe it from a third person perspective and say, Justin, okay, I came into the day, I've been on a losing streak recently. I'm going to look at my journal. I see that, okay, recently I felt like my stops have been a little bit too tight, and that's really the common denominator of my losses in the last week, right? I've taken, it's been a losing week, and when I look back at all of the losses I've taken, I feel like my stops are too tight, and on these specific examples, I actually would have made money on this if my stop was a little bit too tight. So again, boom, I need to immediately know the problem because I'm actually putting in the time and awareness to recognize what it is. I'm not just being like, and wallowing in my fucking self. You actually have to observe it, be aware of what the problem is. Don't be attached to it. Don't be emotional about it. Have a third person awareness, and then set rules for yourself going into the next session next week that are focused on the mistakes you're making, right? I guarantee you watching this right now, you know what the fucking problem is. You don't fix it. That's what the problem is. Justin, what's my problem? What's my trading problem? The problem is you know what the problem is and you don't fix it. For most of you, that's my answer. There is not a problem in your trading. The problem is you know what the problem is and you don't fix it, is the bigger problem. And that's something that you have to dive into yourself and really ask yourself what that is. Is it you're too focused on making money? You can't be patient? You're trying to make back losses from years ago or months ago or whatever it is? It's like when you consistently struggle and you're tied to the idea of making money, you will always fucking fail. Always. That's up to you. You control your perception of your reality. You control your perception of trading. And until you decide to change it, I can't do anything for you. It was a swing, so I didn't even really plan to swing it. And keep in mind, if I'm being completely honest, this should probably not have happened because I held it into the overnight session because I was in profit. And I also didn't know that there was aftermarket news. So I wasn't aware of it. And again, I'll be the first to admit, it's like, when I'm not going to act like you, oh my God, I made so much money, look how great I am. Like, I definitely should not have been in this much size going into an overnight session. I should have known that there was news in the overnight or at market close. But I was in it long and I ended up catching a pretty massive move at market close. But I ended up forgetting I had the position on. Here it is. 32, sorry. This was on April 29th.
32K?
32K, yeah. April 29th. Here I have you can see, this is the screenshot. You can see the live account. I don't know if you can like zoom in, if you want to zoom in on this, but this was the tweet. The cigars, yeah. What do I think about cigars? I like cigars. I think that it's funny that people want it, like people treat it as like this status thing. And I feel like that's just what it's become. It's like, I guess it's from Tate. It's like just Tate smoking cigars and it's become like a fucking status symbol, I guess. I don't know why. But I like cigars. I don't like very bold cigars. I like sweet cigars, to be honest, like that are sweet to the touch on the lips. But they're honestly okay. If I'm going to be completely honest, I would rather have a cigarette. I think that stage is more about your personal psychology and actual mental state than it is your trading. Because when I think about all of the times that I've been in a nothing seems to work state, I'm more upset subconsciously and mentally than I am actually trading. And I think that is what needs to get fixed first before entering back into the marketplace. So my recommendation to you is, number one, understand you're on your own unique journey that's playing out exactly how it needs to play out. Every single person goes through a point in their journey where they feel like nothing's working. They feel like they've lost their confidence, or maybe they haven't even gained it yet. But there's always going to be points in your journey where you feel like you've taken some steps back and nothing is working. These are points in times that are offering you the most growth, right? These are when doors open that you are putting yourself in a hard environment to learn, to grow, and to be able to get through this experience. So one thing that you always have to reflect and remind yourself is, like, relax. This is meant to happen. If this didn't happen, then you wouldn't then learn to then go through the next problem, then learn to then go to the next problem. So it's like you have to understand and submit to the journey, know that this is normal, know that you're going to be okay and you're going to get through it. I think it's so important to understand and check your mental perception of the situation before trying to fix the situation. Because your perception of the situation could be so skewed and warped and emotionalized rather than what it actually is. And so it's very important to reflect how you're viewing the situation first before going about it. So once you are like, calm yourself and be like, all right, it's normal. Let's figure out what's going on. Like, you have to be able to come down, get out your head and be like, all right, let's figure out what's going on here. I feel like nothing's working. At that point in time, when you feel like nothing's working and you don't have confidence, you start from the ground up again. You start with your system. What's the actual strategy? And you build the foundation. So for example, if I was at a point if I'm trading ICT and I'm at a point in which I feel like I'm lost, I go to the foundation. Okay, what's the foundation of my strategy? Draw on liquidity. So for the next week, I'm gonna be just focused on drawing liquidity. Like, I just wanna see where is the market going, and keep in mind, I'm not taking trades. I'm focused on where is the market going. I'm spending maybe some time back testing. I'm watching live price action. I'm maybe paper trading. And I'm focused on just that. Once I can get that confidence back and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand where the market is drawing towards, then I can add, again, the next implementation back in. So like, I'm going to start looking for some SMTs. I'm going to start looking for fair value gap rejections. I'm going to look for areas of manipulation. I'm going to start adding these extra things. But you want to focus on, it's like, you can't expect to put all of these pieces together if you don't have confidence with every single one of them. And it's so important to start with the foundation and slowly build that confidence back. And then once you have the confidence with knowing what you're looking for, then you can start putting on small size again, just like practicing the actual execution of it again. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not really sure how long this video was, but if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and honestly, comment some videos that you guys want to see from me. If you like more content on the charts, more trade recaps, more live trading, more ICT concepts, more psychology videos. If you like videos like this, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.